TMZ released the full hotel video of Diddy and Cassie. Here is another angle from the hotel footage, and here's a picture of the aftermath of Sean Diddy Combs throwing the vase towards Cassie. Here is another picture that TMZ released. I don't know necessarily where this was in the hotel. I don't know if it was in the room, in the hallway, but as you can see, there's more damage.
For you to be a public figure, wrap a towel around yourself and run down a public hallway, not knowing who's at that elevator. It could have been other people at the elevator, and that's your reaction to this girl? Yo, bruh. So now, that's what we caught on tape. My goodness, what's been going on when you ain't in front of the elevator? Now you know it's got to have been magnified back there. So now, you're just not a good person.
Steve Harvey is finally speaking out about Diddy, and one thing he noticeably did not say about his daughter Lori has people paying close attention. Many viewers still remember that well-known lunch photo, Steve sitting beside Marjorie, Lori across the table, and Diddy right in the middle of the conversation. What really got people talking was Steve's expression in that picture. Years later, social media users are still debating what it meant. Some thought he looked concerned, while others came up with their own theories. Now, during an appearance on the One-on-One with Chris Fade podcast, Steve has started sharing his perspective. According to him, the widely discussed hotel footage that spread online was only a small part of a much larger story. But here's where things get interesting. Stick around, because there's one detail involving Steve, his family, and the timing of these comments that hardly anyone seems to be discussing. Once you spot it, it becomes very hard to ignore. Before we get into that though, it's important to remember just how intense the reaction online became. Social media exploded with opinions, speculation, and non-stop discussion. Back in 2019, rumors first linked Lori Harvey to Justin Combs, Diddy's son. Not long after, online chatter started connecting her name to Diddy himself. The reaction was immediate. Fans were shocked by the rumors, and social media lit up with non-stop posts, jokes, and debates. Every screenshot from that famous lunch seemed to spread everywhere within hours, turning the story into one of the biggest talking points online. But here's the part many people overlooked. Steve Harvey has repeatedly said he was never really part of the high-profile party scene often associated with celebrities. In interviews, he has talked about keeping his distance from those kinds of events and focusing on his own path. That's why some people began asking a different question. If Steve was usually separate from that crowd, what brought the Harvey family and Diddy together on that trip to Italy? That question has continued to spark discussion across social media.
If you're a good guy, you'll survive it. It's the bad guys that don't survive it. If you're not trying to be cruel or unkind to people, if you're not trying to be abusive or use people, be a gentleman. Be fair. Don't talk to women that way. Treat women with kindness and respect. If you're that guy, you'll survive that area. Most of us do. And then if you're not that guy, you won't survive that area. He's in prison right now. You turn into Puffy, if you don't respect it, you're going to do some time.
Then, Katt Williams entered the conversation and publicly criticized Steve Harvey during several podcast appearances. At the time, plenty of people laughed it off, disagreed with him, or rushed to defend Steve. But with renewed interest in stories from that period of Hollywood, some viewers have started revisiting those comments and wondering whether there was more to them than they first thought. That's exactly why Steve's comments are getting so much attention this time around. For many viewers, his words seem to echo conversations that have been circulating online for months. During the discussion, Steve said, "If a man shows damaging behavior in public, that tells you everything about what he does in private." That statement immediately caught people's attention. If Steve truly believes that idea, some observers naturally started asking follow-up questions. What experiences shaped that opinion? What kinds of conversations or stories might have been circulating within entertainment circles during those years? Those discussions and rumors didn't suddenly appear overnight. People have been talking about Diddy and various industry stories for a long time. That's why Steve's remarks landed differently for some viewers. What makes the situation even more interesting is that a number of public figures have continued to speak positively about Diddy. Some have even said things like, "He taught me how to make money." That contrast has only added more debate to the ongoing conversation. Others have quietly posted old party photos like nothing serious ever happened. And people online are keeping screenshots of everything. But here's the part viewers really want explained. Steve Harvey once posted very positive words about Diddy on social media. That post has reportedly been deleted, and he is not the only celebrity cleaning up their page. Other major names have also been noticed removing older posts. So now the bigger question is this: are people suddenly seeing things differently, or are they trying to distance themselves now that more attention is on them? Let's pause for a second, because this is what really has viewers bothered. It is not just about one famous person facing backlash. It is about the larger celebrity culture around him that may have ignored warning signs for years. The discussion isn't just about one person. Many people online have shifted their focus to the larger circle around influential celebrities. Friends, associates, supporters, and others who may have been nearby during different moments over the years. Viewers are asking whether more people should speak openly about what they saw, heard, or experienced, especially when powerful connections and major opportunities were involved. That is the bigger conversation many people hoped would be addressed.
You know, man, you can't run it like that, because now you got to pay. And the thing about sin is, sin costs you more than you want to pay and make you stay longer than you want to stay.
And here's some context that makes the situation even more significant. Diddy has been a major figure in entertainment for more than 3 decades. He helped launch careers, influenced music and pop culture, and hosted events that became widely talked about throughout the industry. Because of that long history, whenever someone at that level faces intense public attention, conversations often expand to include many of the people who were connected to them, including the Harvey family. Now let's talk about Marjorie Harvey for a moment, because her presence in this story has sparked its own wave of curiosity. Anyone who has looked through her social media knows she projects a polished, upscale image, quiet luxury, confidence, and a lifestyle that seems comfortable without needing to constantly demand attention. Marjorie has often been viewed as strong, protective, and highly aware of what is happening around her. Many people see her as someone who pays close attention to the people entering and leaving her circle. Because of that image, some viewers have raised questions about the family's connections and public appearances over the years. One topic that continues to spark discussion is the Italy trip that brought several well-known names together. Looking back, some people have wondered how those relationships were viewed at the time and whether anyone had concerns about the public attention surrounding certain figures in the entertainment world. Others believe there was nothing unusual about it at all. The opinions are clearly divided. Think about this for a moment. If you were a parent and your family was spending time around a celebrity whose name was constantly surrounded by rumors and speculation, would you ignore the noise, or would you be asking more questions behind the scenes? That is the kind of debate people continue to have whenever this story comes up. Now, back to Lori Harvey. Remember when people joked about reports that she preferred strong privacy protections in her relationships? Plenty of people mocked the idea and called it unnecessary. But with everything being discussed today, some viewers are looking back at those reports from a very different angle and asking whether there was more to the story than people realized at the time.
I don't really think you're right for my daughter. This dude told me, he said, Mr. Harvey, with all due respect, I don't think that decision is yours to make. Hey, homie, let me explain something to you. That gate you came through down there, everything on this side of the gate belonged to me, including her. Your car can never come on this side of the gate again. My daughter is not allowed to walk outside the gate to get in cars. He said, well, Mr. Harvey, I'm going to continue to see her. I said, ain't no problem. Then I'm going to have you. Yeah, he broke up. He didn't want to die.
Why would a young woman choose to put strong privacy measures in place in the first place? That question has sparked plenty of debate. Some people see those kinds of agreements as smart planning in a world where personal details can spread online in seconds. Others think they may reflect lessons learned from navigating life in the public eye. Either way, celebrity life can be intense, and privacy is often hard to protect when cameras and headlines seem to be everywhere. For someone in Lori's position, those decisions may reveal more about the challenges of fame than anything else. Every move gets analyzed, every photo gets discussed, and even small moments can turn into major stories overnight. That reality alone could explain why some public figures prefer clear boundaries around their personal lives.
Now back to the conversation. One topic that often makes people uncomfortable is the role of influence and power in the entertainment industry. Experts who study unhealthy relationships sometimes point to recurring patterns where individuals with influence may be drawn to people who are going through difficult periods, seeking validation, or chasing big goals. Those discussions continue to fuel debate whenever stories about celebrity relationships and industry connections make headlines. Then they present themselves as the solution, the mentor, the guide, or the person who seems to understand you better than anyone else. By the time someone realizes a situation may not be as positive as it first appeared, they can already feel deeply invested and unsure of how to step away. That is one reason conversations about unhealthy dynamics continue to resonate with so many people. Difficult situations do not only affect one type of person, they can impact people from all backgrounds, regardless of fame, success, education, or financial status. Even confident, accomplished, and highly respected individuals can find themselves facing challenges in relationships or social circles. No one is completely immune to poor influences or complicated situations, and having resources does not automatically make those risks disappear. In some cases, influential people move within the same professional and social circles, attending the same events and building connections with many of the same individuals. That is why healthy boundaries and good judgment are so important. If you have supportive relationships and a peaceful environment around you, that is something to value and appreciate every day. Strong, respectful connections are truly important. Not everyone has the benefit of strong support systems or peaceful environments, and that is one reason these discussions continue to attract so much attention today. For many people, the conversation is bigger than any single celebrity. It's also about the broader entertainment culture, the decisions people make behind the scenes, and whether concerns are addressed or overlooked when powerful names are involved.
When it comes to dating, Lori ain't got a damn thing. I handle Lori dating life.
Now back to the Harvey family. When rumors about Lori and Diddy first began circulating, several different versions of the story appeared online. Some reports claimed Lori's family stepped in and encouraged distance between them. Other reports quoted sources saying Diddy chose to move on, purportedly explaining that he was focused on personal matters and not ready for a serious commitment. So which account is accurate? Was there active involvement from family members, or did the situation simply run its course on its own? That remains one of the biggest debates fans are still having today. Many people believe the answer matters because the different versions of the story can completely change how they view the situation and the people involved. After Steve's recent podcast appearance, a lot of viewers felt he seemed genuinely concerned by the information that has become public. He came across as serious, thoughtful, and more willing to share his perspective than before. To some listeners, it sounded like a person who had been reflecting on these topics for a long time. Others, however, had a different reaction. They immediately asked the question that keeps appearing across social media: why speak out now? Why not years earlier when rumors and speculation were already circulating? Some critics argue that Steve waited until the situation had already become a major public story before commenting on it. Whether that view is fair or not, it has become a major point of discussion under nearly every clip from the interview. Now let's shift to another angle of this story. One issue that often gets overlooked is how quickly successful women can become targets online. You see it all the time. A woman shares a photo with a designer bag, a luxury vacation, or a new achievement, and suddenly the comment section fills with people questioning how she got it instead of simply recognizing her success. A woman shares photos from a luxury vacation, and suddenly the comment section turns into a non-stop debate. A woman simply lives her life, and strangers begin picking apart every detail looking for something to criticize. That kind of reaction often reveals just as much about the people commenting as it does about the person being discussed. And yes, that behavior can come from anyone: women criticizing women, men criticizing women, or people who simply dislike seeing someone succeed without their approval. Some people seem to enjoy watching a highly admired public figure face setbacks because it makes them feel better about their own situation. But this is where things become more complicated. Not every question about a celebrity or a famous family comes from jealousy. Some questions are fair, some are based on genuine curiosity, and some raise legitimate concerns. Separating thoughtful criticism from simple negativity is something every viewer has to decide for themselves. Now, back to Diddy and the larger conversation. For years, many people in entertainment admired the image often associated with major industry success, wealth, influence, exclusive events, and a lifestyle that seemed larger than life. That image was promoted and celebrated for a long time, which leads to a question many observers are asking today. Who helped build and promote that image, and why was it so appealing to so many people? Who attended those events year after year? Who appeared in the photos, praised him in interviews, or publicly supported the brand and image that surrounded him? Those are some of the questions people continue asking today. Many observers believe that every public endorsement helps strengthen a larger reputation, which is why the conversation has expanded far beyond just one individual.
The bigger issue being debated is accountability. For years, some high-profile figures seemed to move through the entertainment world with very little public scrutiny. Because of that, people are also paying closer attention to those who stayed quiet for long periods and only spoke up after public opinion had already shifted. That is one reason Steve's comments have sparked so much discussion. While some viewers appreciate that he spoke out, others continue to ask why those conversations did not happen sooner. It is a question that keeps coming up across social media and in public debates. There is another angle worth considering as well. When influential people publicly normalize risky or irresponsible behavior, their actions can shape trends and attitudes far beyond their immediate circle. Culture often spreads through examples, and highly visible public figures can have a major impact on how certain lifestyles, values, and choices are perceived by everyday people. And that leads to another difficult question. How many public figures who spent years praising Diddy are now expressing surprise about the controversy surrounding him? That is something many people online continue to debate. For some observers, the timing of those reactions has become almost as interesting as the reactions themselves. Now, back to the Harvey family one more time. Many fans are glad Lori eventually moved forward with her life and focused on her own path. At the same time, people often point out that when situations change, there can be many different reasons behind it. Sometimes relationships simply run their course. Sometimes circumstances change naturally. And sometimes people decide to move in different directions for personal reasons. Looking back at that well-known lunch photo, viewers have spent years analyzing every detail. Some focus on Steve's expression, others on Marjorie's calm appearance, and others on Lori and Diddy's body language. Of course, a single photograph can only capture one brief moment in time, but that has not stopped people from drawing their own conclusions. That is why some viewers still have questions today. If Steve's current perspective reflects concerns he had back then, people naturally wonder what he was thinking at the time. These are not accusations. They are simply the kinds of questions that keep discussions going and continue to drive debate across social media and comment sections. Let me share one more point that has people thinking. Parents in the entertainment world often face unique challenges. On one hand, they want to look out for their families. On the other, they operate in an industry built on networking, public appearances, and professional relationships. That balancing act can create difficult situations, and Steve Harvey is certainly not the first public figure to face those pressures. Even so, many fans expect a higher standard from someone whose public image has long been connected to family values, personal growth, and relationship advice. That expectation is one reason this conversation continues to attract so much attention online. When you step back and look at the bigger picture, the lesson many people take from this story is fairly simple. Focus on how people behave rather than the image they present. Social media posts, luxury lifestyles, brand partnerships, and magazine covers can create a powerful impression, but actions and consistent patterns often tell a more complete story. As Steve Harvey said, what people show in public hints at what they hide in private. That idea resonates with many people because it can apply broadly to public figures in everyday life alike. It encourages people to pay attention to character, choices, and the way someone treats others over time. Think about the people you allow into your life, the people who have access to your time, your energy, and your trust. Are they consistently showing respect, honesty, and consideration? Or are there patterns you keep overlooking because they seem easy to explain away? One important thing to remember is that unhealthy situations do not always appear obvious at first. They often begin with charm, attention, and promises that sound appealing. That is why paying attention to actions over time can be far more revealing than focusing only on first impressions. And that is where a lot of people get caught off guard. First impressions can be powerful, but they do not always tell the full story. Someone can look successful, confident, and respected in public while presenting a very different side of themselves behind closed doors. That is why so many viewers have become less interested in polished images and more interested in consistent behavior over time. The reason this conversation keeps gaining attention is because people are starting to question the difference between reputation and reality. For years, certain public figures seemed untouchable. They had influence, connections, and an image that appeared larger than life. But as more stories and perspectives come to light, many fans are realizing that popularity and character are not always the same thing. And that brings us back to Steve Harvey. His recent comments did not just reopen discussion about one person. They reopened a much bigger conversation about accountability, influence, and whether people speak up when it matters most or only after the spotlight has already shifted. That question is exactly why the reaction to Steve's interview has been so divided. Some viewers see his comments as an important contribution to a conversation that many people have been having for years. Others believe the timing is impossible to ignore and continue to ask whether more could have been said earlier. Either way, the interview succeeded in doing one thing: it got people talking again. What makes stories like this so fascinating is that they often reveal how differently people interpret the same events. One person sees caution, another sees silence. One person sees loyalty, another sees avoidance. The facts may stay the same, but the conclusions people draw can be completely different depending on their perspective. That is why debates around celebrity culture rarely disappear after a single news cycle. And while social media loves turning every situation into heroes and villains, reality is usually far more complicated. Public figures are often judged based on snapshots, headlines, and short clips rather than the full picture. That does not mean questions should not be asked. It simply means people should be careful about rushing to conclusions before all the information is available. Still, as more conversations continue to unfold, viewers remain eager to see who speaks up next and what new details might emerge from those who were closest to the story. By the time warning signs become obvious, people are often already emotionally invested, deeply connected, or hoping things will improve on their own. That pattern is not limited to one situation either. It can show up in families, friendships, business relationships, and even entire industries where difficult questions sometimes go unasked until public attention becomes impossible to ignore. And that is one reason conversations like this continue to matter. They encourage people to look beyond headlines, beyond public images, and beyond the stories that are carefully presented to the world. Whether you agree with Steve Harvey's perspective or not, his recent comments have sparked a discussion that clearly resonates with a lot of people. The questions being asked today are bigger than any one celebrity. They are about accountability, influence, trust, and how people respond when public opinion shifts. Before I wrap this up, I want to leave you with one final question. Do you believe Steve Harvey is genuinely speaking from the heart now? Or do you think the timing of his comments raises even more questions? Let me know what you think, because I'm genuinely interested in hearing your perspective. If you made it all the way to the end, thank you for watching and being part of the conversation. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to Fame Thunder, and share this video with anyone who would find this topic interesting. And most importantly, drop a comment below with your honest opinion. I read through the comments and love seeing the different viewpoints people bring to these stories. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.